Hey, have any of you guys ever ordered DoorDash or Grubhub? After you place your order, you get a little message stating, hey, somebody is at the store ready to pick up your order. It should be to you shortly, right? After they grab it, they send you another little message. The order is on the way. They should be there in X amount of time. And they actually have a little map that you can look at, and it'll show you the person's vehicle coming towards your home. I believe they use a similar app for when you order an Uber or Lyft driver. Well, guys, Faith Morris delivers DoorDash out in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and she ordered a 10-piece wing. It was a meal that only cost $18. She goes out to this part of town that's a little iffy. She describes it as kind of a ghetto area, right? And then she says that she's waiting outside the lady's house for 10 minutes.
This is the hood. I'm not about to sit outside with my kids in front of somebody's house I don't know for over 10 minutes.
She loses her internet connection, right? So she loses connection to both DoorDash and the customer. And so after 10 minutes, she decided to take the order and leave, okay? Now, the reason I thought this was strange is because I specifically have a notation on my DoorDash orders for people to leave it at my front door, and I have a feeling you guys probably have it set up that same way. Just drop it off. I don't need you to literally hand it to me, right? Right as soon as she started leaving, the customer started blowing her phone up.
The customer bombarded her with calls.
She says, you just told me to have a blessed night. You said you was at home. I got your location.
Minutes later, a knock on her door caught on camera before Faith says she saw the woman proceed to bash her car.
So anyway, this lady not only blows up her phone, but apparently based on the video I heard, it looks like they had some sort of weird final conversation where Faith basically said, have a blessed evening. And when you just got cheated out of your food, the last thing you want to hear is have a blessed evening. It probably pissed the customer off. Now, here's something I didn't know. That same app that shows you the DoorDasher's vehicle coming to your house, if they don't drop off your order and they're not able to connect with DoorDash to officially cancel that order, apparently the customer still has the ability to see your vehicle on that app's map system.
She did this over a 10-piece chicken wing. She passed fryers to come here.
She grabbed a brick out of the neighbor's yard and she proceeded to beat the shit out of Faith's vehicle.
She picked up one of those bricks off of the neighbor's lawn and she threw it onto here. This looks like she was beating my car with the four-way. Knocked my rearview mirror off, bust this window. This ain't no junkyard car. This is a 2024.
And apparently there's $6,000 worth of damage on it, and now she can't work because of it.
I can no longer work right now. I can't make deliveries.
But she also wants to close this loophole that apparently is a danger for DoorDashers, and that's the idea that a customer can actually see them drive home using the app. That sounds terrifying. I'm surprised that this hasn't happened more often.
I actually need a lawyer so that by the end of this, I can own DoorDash and change the policy.
I wonder if Faith was just having a long day and decided just to take home that meal and eat it herself. But what are your thoughts? You heard the story. Let's go into the comments now, but I would love to know your thoughts down below if you don't mind sharing them. A lot of times we'll talk on this channel how most people don't have $400 for an emergency, how most people don't have $1,000 in their checking or savings account, how everybody's living paycheck to paycheck. Could you imagine you've got this 2000, and I think they said 22 or 2024 vehicle, either way, imagine you're making a pretty hefty size payment on that.
This ain't no junkyard car. This is a 2024.
And because you're paying payments, you probably have to pay full car insurance too. So you're literally paying an arm and a leg to have this car. You're using it to make a living by doing DoorDash deliveries. And now because of some $18 order that didn't go the customer's way, you've got $6,000 worth of damage on your car. That just seems unreal. I wish that people that do the damage to people's cars, I wish they had to pay that back. Now, I know some of them get in trouble and go to jail, and some of them do pay it back. But so many times you end up hearing that the victim never gets recouped in any way, shape, or form. And I just have a feeling this is going to be one of those situations. Another piece of me, and this goes back to the video I did a couple days back. Do you guys remember that video I did about the guy in Walgreens that saved the elderly customer from getting scammed? There's a piece of me that just knows how human nature is, and people are always thinking of ways to get ahead. And I don't know, the weird thing is that Faith Morris really looks like she's trying to sell us, and she almost seems like she's putting up an act. If you're on the same page I am and you feel like she's putting up an act, it just makes you wonder, are these two in cahoots? And if you did have a friend that was in cahoots with you for something like this seems like a this seems like a hell of a way to sue DoorDash, doesn't it?
By the end of this, I can own DoorDash.
All the circumstances leading up to this final situation, they had to all line up in a row. What are the odds that she would go and deliver a meal by just sitting there when every single DoorDasher I've ever dealt with just leaves your food at your front door? Number two, what are the odds that she would lose internet connection and not be able to get it back? That's kind of odd in and of itself. Number three, the whole idea that she was just going to take the food home almost makes it look pre-calculated. Again, is it pre-calculated? Is this some sort of scam that the two are trying to pull? I don't really think so. But it does seem like a great way for people to scam DoorDash in the future. And I'm hoping that they can actually fix the app so that people don't get scammed. Because I just have a feeling that that's a great way to scam DoorDash. And I'm not on DoorDash's side. I'm sure DoorDash will do whatever they can to get out of paying for this girl's car. What's scary about this is that a customer that's a little off her rocker ended up following the person home. But the other side of it is that there's probably a lot of DoorDashers out there that are probably off their rocker themselves, and they already have your home address. Maybe it would be smarter going forward if we all just quit using DoorDash altogether. None of us are happy with the service. Nobody likes spending $30 on a $10 order of food, right? Why the hell is this app so popular? It seems like a real waste of time for everybody involved. At RustCat5952 says she's definitely getting paid. No way that app should allow customers to track you down where you live. I would have never thought about that. And if I was at somebody's house waiting 10 minutes, especially in a really sketchy neighborhood, I probably wouldn't want to wait there either. And maybe she was in a spot where she didn't want to get out of her home. For all I know, she could have had her kid in her back seat. Did you guys see that mail carrier about a week and a half ago? They found out by looking into her mail truck that she had like her 2 daughters with her while she was doing her job. And it's really crazy because you don't know if your daughters are going to start opening mail and stuff. And you know, it's one of those things where you really shouldn't take your kids with you to do your job. And I'm wondering if maybe her daughter or son was with her and it prevented her from wanting to get out and deliver her food.
I'm not about to sit outside with my kids in front of somebody's house I don't know for over 10 minutes.
Focus on Jesus says, I still don't understand why she took the food with her. Amen. Leave the food by the door, take a picture, close your app, and restart your phone. Drive to where you're getting good cell service and call DoorDash support. You never take food home. And then the next person at Chris replied back, I bet she ate the food, period. All bet money. Guys, one time I got DoorDash and I paid like a $5 tip because I found pretty quickly if you don't tip $4 or $5, you're gonna wait forever for your food. And so I gave them this $5 tip So again, whenever you do that, it makes your $10 order like 25 or 30 bucks, right? She took like 20, 30 minutes just to bring me my food, and I saw her pick it up like 20 or 30 minutes ago. So it's like, God, she's taking her dear sweet time. And then when I got it, they seal it with a little sticker atop the bag. And she had literally busted open the sticker and ate half of my French fries. And so I reached out to DoorDash and I said, this is ridiculous. Look at what the person did to my order. And they were nice enough to give me a $3 discount on my next order, or a $3 credit. Can you believe that? They didn't even ditch out on my tip that I gave them. They gave me $3, and ever since then, I haven't gotten DoorDash again. I did get Grubhub, but I'm not going to get DoorDash anymore. They're all the same, though. How tacky. You're a good customer. You literally send a picture of what their driver did, and their idea of customer service is to give you a $3 rebate. Isn't that just ridiculous? God, some of these companies are just god-awful. And you know the reason we don't ditch them as customers? It's not that we don't want to ditch them, but a lot of times, you know, all you're doing is going from DoorDash to Grubhub. And you're just, you know, it's just, you just get to the point where it's like, this is how every company treats people nowadays. But back when I was growing up, it seems like all the shows like Dateline and other shows like 2020 and Dateline, it seems like they were always centered around a crazy stalker type guy. And whenever you have these apps where people have control of where your vehicle is and they can kind of chart your progress around the city and stuff, that just seems really sketchy as hell to me. Why does the customer literally need to have a beacon on where you are at all times? To me, that seems a little unnecessary. I think they should have some sort of timer, you know, where maybe the app can tell, hey, you're 6 minutes away, now you're 3 minutes away. But I don't think you need to have a GPS that literally shows exactly where you are. Naturist Fred says, I find it ironic she had time to go to this girl's house to harass her, but couldn't pick up her own damn food. I totally agree with that, but imagine this. Imagine your daughter is who you ordered that food for. Imagine you are in a bad neighborhood, and imagine you're expecting that DoorDash driver to drop off the food at the front door like they always do. All of a sudden, your daughter calls you back and says, Mama, the lady just came here, never gave me her food, and took off. So all of a sudden, the lady starts calling her like crazy, and instead of picking up the phone, the lady kind of ignores it. When she finally does communicate back, she gives you one of these have a blessed nights. When you're having a disagreement with somebody, the last thing you want to hear is them say, have a blessed night. I mean, it's really kind of a backhanded slap in the face, right? And sometimes when you talk shit to people, you don't know what they know. And if they know where you live and they're crazy, they're probably not the right person to be talking shit to.
You said you was at home. I got your location.
With that being said, I still believe that we live in a country where you should be able to speak freely without fear of people chasing you down at your house. And I think we can all agree, telling somebody to have a blessed evening, even if it's meant with rude intentions, is not something that deserves somebody coming and attacking you. Black Flying Fox says, working for DoorDash is becoming increasingly dangerous. Guys, a lot of these drivers are not equating that into their thinking process. For example, if you were going to work at Circle K, you would want to get paid at least a decent wage, because there's a chance that you could be in a gun situation where somebody's holding you up at the register with a gun. We see videos like that all the time. Well, if that same Circle K wants you to work the evening/graveyard shift, and all of a sudden you're in a sketchy part of town at the time of night when everybody and their mother is sleeping except for, you know, criminals and bad guys, that's something you should really take into account before you accept that job. And now that DoorDash and Grubhub and Uber and Lyft, all we see all the time on videos is people putting their lives at risk for those jobs. And then when you do the math, you end up making hardly anything. Have you ever seen where a DoorDasher will tell you, hey, I made all this money, but if you take the wear and tear and everything into effect, I barely made minimum wage? Well, I think we can all agree if you're making minimum wage, you should be working in a job where your life is not so at risk. So maybe that's not the best way to make money anymore. That's Bruja Africana says, imagine going to jail for vandalism and stalking over some chicken wings. That's what's so ridiculous, Bruja, about the world that we live in. I'm trying to get the world to take a walk and they all think I'm crazy. But all the crazy people out there, if they took a walk and calmed down, they might not be going to jail so often. I can't tell you how many times I've had a bad day and I go and I take my half-hour walk and I feel better. I'm arguing with a significant other, I go and take my walk, I feel better. If people would get out of their house, breathe some fresh air, try to minimalize things instead of always taking things overboard, right? Going overboard with things, the world would be such a better place. I hope they throw the book at this lady. What's going to really be a travesty is they're probably going to give her 6 months probation or something goofy. When people do this over the top shit, you need to punish them. And this girl, man, she needs to get more realistic. Do your job better. Figure out how to do your job when bad shit happens so that hopefully going forward you don't repeat this. Guys, I hope you enjoyed your walk with me today. I hope you guys are walking. Something tells me many of you aren't. Put your shoes on. Go for a daily walk. If you can walk now during the hottest time of the year, you're going to be in really good shape when the weather cools down. With that being said, I'll see you tomorrow. All right, have a good night.